up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin IT podcast. Jack, how you doing, man?
I am good, man. How about yourself?
I am making it. Andre, I
Let
think
me
you muted.
unmute my mic first.
Yeah.
I'm doing I'm doing I'm doing decently. Look, I've been running my mouth about it constantly because I'm excited about what I'm doing, but getting on with these books and trying to get these stories together, especially the one I reference. See, it's weird when the mirror is backwards, but right there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting all that done.
Nice, straight. So I hope everybody had a lovely holiday season. We took 3 weeks off after Jeff Keighley's award show, and you
Yay.
know, it's been an interesting 2024, and that's what we're talking about today. This is going to be our annual year in review. But I do want to I want to hit on something real quick before we get started. And we know that the successor machine is coming up for Nintendo. We know that
hmm
that's going to be dropping sometime this year. Don't know when, but we know it's going to come up. But I've been noticing something of a trend where it comes to what people would like to see, and this thing that keeps coming up is achievements and trophies. And I just want to say one thing about that. To me personally, it's annoying because when I'm playing on my Xbox, when I'm playing on my PlayStation, I get tired of seeing that junk come across the screen. I'm like, bro, I'm in the middle of something. I don't need to see this. I would actually be happy with achievements if they unlocked stuff in game. Like
That's what we talked about last night.
let it have a point. Like there
hmm
is no point. That's why I'm like, I don't care for achievements because it don't prove nothing.
They
It doesn't
don't.
prove
I mean,
nothing.
There's a big swing
how people
factor
supposed to
why.
know you played the game though, bro? How they supposed to know you beat it? How we supposed to know you really did
If you only
anything?
got bronze trophies, you ain't got no
Like,
platinums. Like
Yeah.
like you ain't played that game the way you said you played that game.
Here's the funny thing about the whole platinum situation. There were people getting Concord just to try to go through and get the platinum real quick. That made no freaking sense.
yeah,
You know the game, man. You know the game got shut down the week it came out.
yeah. I like we talked about last night. Like achievements either giving you discounts or achievements being the way that you unlock DLC or something that is, conducive to you actually trying to get an achievement, opposed to it being like a pat on the back award.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's a participation award. Thank you for playing the game. I told you what it was when I paid you $70 for it. Like, don't patronize me. Like, hey, you started the game, achievement number 1.
Oh,
That's why I love that Deadpool game. I love that Deadpool game that came out. Because that's the basic thing they did. Like they basically went off and roasted the gaming industry for that during that first level. So for me, I'll use an example like this. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I love that game, but y'all know I still don't have Cosmos. Still.
Years later.
Years later. So my thing is, if you want to do an achievement that says, hey, okay, you have to do this, this, and this to get this character unlocked, that's fine with me. If that's what the achievement is going to be. Instead of doing a gotcha system, do an achievement system where, okay, you did these things in this role. This unlocks Cosmos. This unlocks Telos.
Mm-hmm.
This unlocks these rare blades instead of me having to sit up here and go through. Right now, I think I'm at 250 legendary cores. And still not getting who I want.
That's nuts. That has to be some kind of like RNG situation to where like a speedrunner can tell you if you started off with this, you're never gonna get this. This character.
Like So
I did Monolith. Y'all make me.
That's my only problem with like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. My only problem with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is that freaking gotcha system. That's it. Because I hate gotcha systems. It's stupid.
I think they can be okay depending on how they're implemented, but that is an egregious implementation.
Yeah, like the way Monolith did it, that was just like, okay, bro, that's a character everybody want. Y'all gave us Telos, but you want to make us sweat over Cosmos, which makes no sense.
All right.
That's what they chose to do.
Yeah, that's what they chose to do. So,
but as far as the achievement thing, as I said last night, and as everybody is basically reverberated. It is as long as we can do something with the points. Like
Yeah.
Nintendo does technically have an achievement system on the Switch. It's those little mission things that they do.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
But that doesn't, and I know it's because people want it on your profile. They want to be able to see it. They want to be able to brag about it. I don't care if you want to do that. If you want to do that, fine.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to use what I earned from the achievements, the points, to actually do something with them. Like, I don't even care. If you just let me unlock skins and freaking themes, I'd be happy with that. But it has to be something I can do with them rather than, ooh, I passed this point.
Right.
Oh, hey, you made it halfway through the game.
Yeah, I don't have any excitement in appeasing other people on what I did. I really don't.
Yeah.
Now, I do understand certain people that take a challenge in trying to get said trophy, especially platinums, if they're worth the challenge. Because, like, if you look at certain games, like let's say 2K, for example, if you don't play every aspect of that game, you're not getting every trophy. But if I'm a person that does not care about my team, then it means I cannot get every trophy in that game. But ultimately, there are games that's like, hey, for you to get this platinum, you pretty much just have to like be a completionist. You got to 100% this game, which I can respect that. But most of these trophies are just tossed in the air. Same thing with the achievements with Xbox, in which I would assume Nintendo would go the star route and like, oh, here's this star, platinum star, gold star, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I mean,
Base it off of Mario power ups. You get a mushroom, a fire flower, an invincibility star, a metal cap. Just,
They could have quite a few.
they got a lot. Categorize them from how difficult they are to do to how easy they are. That would be interesting, but I still want the points.
Yeah,
let me
want
have the points.
Give me something for it, because I mean, granted, you already give me something for purchasing the game. You give me points that way. Cool, thank you. Now, when I get this achievement, let it do something. Give me a discount. Let it, like I said, unlock something in the game. Because I think there's only been one person that's really benefited from these achievement systems, and that's that one guy that got the very first Xbox One, and he got like a special edition because he got all the achievements on 360. Which ain't no way in the world I'm doing. Like, the fact that you chose
spending
to get,
time
like,
to do that.
Nah, like you pretty much paid for the console already by getting every game to get every achievement.
Essentially.
But yeah, you paid for multiple versions of that console, actually.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, goodness. Ooh. Nah, I ain't got that much time.
Yeah, no. To me, it's just weird. Like, it's just I've never understood I never understood the point of achievements and trophies. I just never understood it, and I never understood the 7th gen.
They came in with the 360.
Yeah, they came in.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
But the thing is, like, it didn't serve a point. It's just annoying. Like, if give me ability to turn them on and off.
That would be cool.
I mean, that's fine. I think I'm pretty sure my Xbox, you at least have the ability to turn off the notifications in Steam. I know you can turn it off in Xbox and Steam.
Yeah. I don't think you can turn it off on PlayStation, though. I don't think you can.
I want to say you can. I just don't think the setting is easy to find.
Right.
I've never seen it. So,
but the one thing I don't like about PlayStations either is it doesn't even tell you what you did. That was one of the main ones. I'm like,
just get a trophy appear and
like, what did I do? Because at least Xbox will tell you, like, okay, this was like a rare one. This was like a common one, but they'll tell you, hey, you did this. To where PlayStation was like, congratulations. I'm like, what did I do? Like, you did something.
Take congratulations and be happy.
Hey, you walked through a revolving door. Congratulations. Here's a bronze trophy.
Yeah, so that's funny. That's too funny. All right, so I did put a post up on the on our YouTube channel. I put a little
the Wii U one.
No, not the Wii U one. Not the Wii U one. I put a poll up about 2024. Got 19 votes on it, and I had so the first one was 2024 has been off the chain. That was 26%. People like that.
Mm-hmm.
58% was like, "Hey, it's been all right."
Right.
5% was like, "It hasn't been great," and 11% was like, "No thoughts at all." In 2024, so
Said it was just a year.
it was just a year. So, all right.
Mhm.
So for me personally, I'm gonna say this, and I think I'm probably alone in thinking this, but this is just something I've noticed over the past, I want to say 2 years.
Mhm.
It's too much. It's way too
Too much
much.
mini games. Yeah.
Yes, too many games. Like, if you are one of those people who's saying you ain't got nothing to play, please stop. Please remove yourself from this hobby.
Yeah.
Remove yourself from this hobby because you're lying. Either you're lying or you're trying to fit in. And there's way too many games. Like, it's bad when you can't even sit down and enjoy a game because you got three more that just dropped 2 weeks apart from each other. And you're like, God dang. Like, can't even, yeah, can't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there were tons of games like this year, tons to the point to where when we did our recap and like what were like some hidden gems or some games that kind of disappointed us, I forgot about what games that came out the first half of the year because
Mm-hmm.
there was just a lot of titles. Some I would say were a lot of forgettable titles, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, there were a lot of titles. I mean, but yeah, you were bound to find something, whether you were into the cozy games, you were into the first person shooters, the multiplayers, like there was something for somebody out there. But I get some people wanted more than just one or two games in their preferred genre, which is fair for some because some games only got like 1 to 2 good games in their genre this year. And they were easy, quick, complete games, and I think that's where things fell apart. But also too, I kind of give a lot of credit to social media for kind of being the pain in the behind for gaming too, especially this year, because I literally comparing gaming and then also music on social media, like watching people gravitate towards something because somebody told them to, or they showed interest in something, or always love something, but because it's getting burnt on social media, people like, oh, I'm gonna stray away from it because it's always been something that's a little cringy. I just liked it a little bit. It's like y'all got to get some type of spine. Dude, like
Yeah.
just like what you like.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, we've seen that with people begging for Wii U ports.
Yeah, that
You
it's crazy.
hated the system, but want
System.
all the games.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does. But that's my thinking on like 2024. It's just way too much, and it's been like that for a couple years. And I think that's why,
Mhm.
like, there's some games that legit don't get found just because I'm like, bruh, like you came out between this and this, and you stood no chance.
Right.
Like you literally stood no chance. I remember like October had like 3 games within a week of each other. It had Sonic Shadow Generations, you had Yeast 10, Nordics, you had what was the other one? It was Yeast 10. I think they were all on like the same day. Yeah, the same day. It was Yakuza Kiwami, Sonic Shadow Generations, Yeast 10 Nordics.
Mhm.
All on the same day.
Yep.
So it's situations like that. Now for me, some of my favorite games of 2024, because I don't really want to do like each system has their own. I don't feel like we should do that because number one, Sony and Microsoft are damn near the same. So,
Mhm.
so some of my favorite games, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, I thought that was an awesome game. Although it's it's an annoying game, but it's still fun. Contra, Operation Galuga. When once they put the patch out, it's still frustrating, but it's still fun though.
Right.
It is fun. Princess Peach Showtime was one of the ones that surprised me.
You're
I
not allowed
didn't.
to like that game, Jay.
Yeah,
Too
okay,
bad.
okay, okay, but it's something about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because the whole ninja thing and the whole ridiculousness of it. I just thought it was hilarious. Tales of Kinzarazao, love that game, even though certain people in the community really need to get themselves checked. It was a good game.
Right.
You know, it was an awesome game. Trails Through Daybreak was another one of my favorite ones from this year. That was a good one, but I'm actually a fan of that series. Uh, East 10 is an excellent game, excellent action RPG game. I feel I'm kind of upset that like it didn't get any kind of recognition, even though it had probably one of the better battle systems this year, hands
Right.
down, in my opinion. But I kind of figured since it's an RPG, Jeff Keighley would be allergic to it. Um, but another game that I truly enjoyed that was Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay.
I thought that game was just fun. Like the puzzles were actually good. They weren't frustrating, but they were good. And even though it does have a few problems, I still enjoyed it. I thought they did a very good job with it, especially expanding on the lore too as well. I thought they did a good job with it. So that's like just some of my favorite games from the year. So Andre, what about you?
I mean, look, I have been a unicorn overlord stand since that demo. Straight up, tell them like if you love a deep, enriching story, if you liked Game of Thrones and you're into strategy, that is a game you want to play.
Yeah,
bruh,
that is a game you want to play.
They was murking mugs.
Man, look,
Boy.
from the onset of the game, you seeing murder and death from the onset, but it's so beautifully crafted though. It just looks good.
Right.
And it feels nice to get through the story. At no point in that story when you're playing that game does it feel like there's a steep drop off in what you're doing. You keep motivated if you play it.
Right.
And the twist at the end, because I'm not gonna say it, even though the game is almost a full year old.
Yeah, I'm still playing.
Yeah, the twist at the end is worth playing through the game for. I figured it out halfway through the game, but the twist at the end is worth playing it for. So it is definitely worth playing it for, especially if you really are the type of person that likes lore for a game. Now, Princess Peach Showtime, I need to get back into because I like that game a lot. Like you said, the ridiculousness of it is what makes it fun to play.
Right.
There's just so many whacked out things going on. Like they just turned Peach into Kirby. She's just playing dressed up like Kirby does. Yeah. Only difference is she ain't got to eat people to get their
It's still wild. That's still wild.
But that game is fun. Like if you can't enjoy sitting down and just playing a game just because it's wacky, I don't know why you are playing games.
Right.
I tell people, I say it all the time, video games are just electronic toys. The characters on the screen are your action figures. That's what you're doing. If you feel like you gotta be a grown person to say, oh man, I can't play that kitty mess, then why are you playing any video game at all?
Yeah, you should just walk away from it.
Just walk away from the hobby. Just call it dead at that point. Because you sitting there, you playing with Nathan Drake, he's your action figure. So just remember, just because you don't have him in your hand like a little kid does, you still manipulating Nathan Drake and making him make those movements. He's your action figure.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Any more?
I mean, I got so many, it's hard to just decide on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's too, like you said, it's too many. But those are the two that stuck out the most to me, besides MEO, because I still got to get that. But that demo, I was still mad that demo, that footage when I was recording that demo got corrupted.
Wow.
I was so mad. I had the whole demo recorded, the whole thing. And right as I got to the end of it, right as I'm finishing it, the recording breaks. I was like,
I love it.
I was mad.
Technology, man.
I ain't doing that again. Like, look, I played it. I ain't doing it again.
I heard MEO was actually pretty good though.
It is. I got to actually get the game and finish it. It's good. I'm going to transfer my stuff from that demo. It's an interesting story. Again, people think Nintendo can't do dark stories, even though they've been doing them forever.
Wind Waker. Wind Waker's dark as hell.
No. Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon.
Just look back at
Kirby.
Pokemon.
Kirby, like the end of them Kirby games turned into some eldritch body horror. Crazy. Like, bro, did y'all play this game when y'all gave us an E10?
No, they didn't. They saw it bright and colorful and a cute pink little round ball. That was all they got.
That's all they saw. I'm like, man, this junk goes sideways real quick.
They played maybe the first 20 minutes and say, yeah, this is E10. We let them go.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. All right, Jack. What about you? What's a couple games you can recommend for?
Of course, Astrobot. Like Astrobot is always an easy referral. If you have a PS5, that
I
is.
wish it sold more so people would stop making themselves look
Yeah.
stupid because they be
They
making
really
themselves
need
look
to buy.
stupid online.
They really need to buy that game. Like,
You
Like,
how
know,
y'all gonna be a fan and tout how good the game is, but you ain't even gonna buy it?
you know
you
what?
don't buy it.
Don't buy it, because this is going to go into that pool, which I predict there's going to
It's going.
be a PS5 exclusive pool. There's going to be that they're going to go to PC pool, and it's going to come to Nintendo pool.
Oh, that's
And
definitely going to Nintendo.
Astro's going to Nintendo along with Horizon. Like, I feel like those are two games that will go, not
Well,
because Horizon is your typical type of Nintendo game. It's just ain't nobody else playing it. So it's like
well,
you don't take it to PC.
the reason why it's gonna go over to Nintendo is because they tired of they're gonna find out when Zelda's releasing, so they want to release near it. That's what it's going.
Like, so we want to release this. So is there anything that you guys are releasing in this ballpark? Like,
Oh,
no, we
man.
good. Okay. But I feel like they're gonna have to start getting into that pool, because Horizon just can't catch a break. Like,
Nah,
even I said last night, it's not a bad game. It's not a good taste to people for whatever reason that you don't like it, whether it's the
It's
combat, the story, Aloy being boring. It's
yeah.
it's like a prelude game. It's a prelude to a good game coming out right after it.
but that game ain't
And,
shown up yet. I don't know.
that's why I said it's a prelude to a game coming out, a good game coming out after it. Like, it's the appetizer before the main course.
I say if they take it out of this open world to more of a linear set, I think it would
It might work.
succeed.
They
Okay.
probably could do it if they.
It's too big.
Well, and the other thing too is you gotta remember, like in 2017, it came out right with Breath of the Wild. You wasn't winning that. You wasn't winning that.
And then Elden Ring was next?
Yeah, Elden Ring was the next, and I'm like, you ain't winning that either. Like, because the thing about Elden Ring got hyped up off of George R.R. Martin writing it. That's how that game got hyped up. So it got number one, you got one of the author whose books are killing it on TV right now, because everybody's talking about Game of Thrones at work, at school, at the barbershop. Everybody talking about Game of Thrones. So they found out he's writing this. I'm like, bro, I felt bad for him, because like this is a classic case of y'all just can't catch a break.
Right.
Y'all coming out at the wrong damn time.
Yeah, it's nuts. But
that's like coming out and going up against damn Pokemon and wondering why your game ain't sell.
Look, the only game that has been able to compete with Pokemon at that level is Call of Duty.
And even then, Call of Duty was like, they the only ones that stood face to face like Call of Duty. Like, you flinch.
The only ones that can.
Yeah, like, bro, you flinch. Because you're gonna buy our game because you got kids. You're gonna buy all three of them. So flinch.
Yep.
Well, now it's the two versions in the DLC. You gonna buy both versions, and you can get DLC for both of them. Gone.
You see this nice little switch light?
You know your daughter want that one.
You know your daughter want it, right?
I'm telling you.
Oh, what about that? What about that one with the Flareon in the back? That red one that we just put out.
Oh yeah, and there's a boycott going on. Go and pick this up.
Oh yeah. Be a rebel. Pick it up.
Be a rebel.
Tell them they can't tell you what to buy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Astro is an easy sell. One that I didn't know anything about until people pointed in my direction, and then also the Game Awards, which I have to give credit to, is Balatro. Like Balatro, whenever you get like a fantastic hand of jokers that you could pretty much run through quite easily in some aspects of that game. But I think it's a smart spin on poker, without being too caught up in gambling or really knowing how to play poker to its fullest. But you just kind of have to go in about it in a strategic way. And the other one, I kind of dance back and forth on what this third one would be, but I would have to give it to a remaster. And the reason why I give it to this remaster, because I never played the original, and that was Epic Mickey Rebrushed. They did a fantastic job remaking that game. It's always been a great platformer for what I heard when it was on the Wii. Then, not having to do those point mechanics, on this particular game, not saying that I wouldn't want it, but you don't have to do it. And the platforming on it is amazing. And anybody that knows me and what I've continued to express, platformers are my thing. And so with this releasing at a good price, and it released everywhere. Like Epic Mickey Rebrush was amazing.
Okay, yeah, I loved it on the Wii. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't pick it up for the remaster yet. I need to go and do
I
that
need to
because
get it myself. That I
Mhm.
want to get it.
yeah. All right, Sandstorm, 2024. What you like?
All the games from 2024, they have to be 2024 specific.
Yeah, dude. We talking about last year, dude.
Oh man, oh
This
man.
ain't this ain't the Game Awards, man. You can't talk about damn Elden Ring. This ain't the
I
Game
was
Right.
just,
Awards.
I was trying to figure out games that what do they call it? What's that category? Games
Oh, talking about
ongoing
the
games.
ongoing games.
Oh, nah, that don't work here.
They ongoing in my library.
In the words, in the words of this child, we don't do that here. We don't do that here.
But they continuing to feed your back catalog.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Realistically, I really only have two games specifically.
Okay.
Um, and one of them was a thorough enjoyment, and the other one was kind of a. I won't say it was necessarily a miss. I think it set up for opportunity to grow. Um, I just think that the execution of the game itself was kind of poor. So the game that hit for me obviously was Black Myth. I talked about it all year ever since it came out.
All right.
It was definitely a great game, very good action game. I don't compare it to Souls in that way. I don't. I mean, other than once you hit a rest spot, then you all the people come back, but like a lot of stuff is doing that these days. So
Right.
um, yeah, I would say definitely pick that one up. Some of the transformations get really dope. One of my favorite transformations is like I think it's called the Chieftain Monkey. Um,
Okay.
he's just like this. To me, he looks like a wilder version than Wukong himself, and he's just got this long sword. So like he really ain't playing. And
Frieza will have a field day with this dude.
no, and he turned up too. It's kind of crazy because he turns up and he gains wings and ice powers and all that other stuff. So I definitely say if you have PC or PlayStation 5, because we know that it's not coming anytime soon to Xbox, if at all, um, to definitely check that out. The bosses in the game are crazy. I would say that graphically it's a beautiful game, but
Mhm.
I've kind of I've kind of moved on from having a single color palette be like beautiful to me. So,
Oh,
um,
Okay. Okay.
it's either all green or all red or all black or all brown.
You don't
That's
like the Zack Snyder color palette?
nah, man. I need more than that. I definitely, I definitely need more than that. Um,
Sandstorm, I think Terminator Juice got something for you.
what did he say? Yeah, listen. I'm only here by default, but in my other screen is actually the Lions game. So
okay, he
yeah,
got it
no,
covered.
yeah, don't worry. I'm here. I'm here for it. Don't worry, I'm here for it. Um, yeah. So it's that's I think that's one of the best games that were out. Obviously, it hit um the nominees for Game of the Year.
Mhm.
Um, the different items and the different suits and stuff like that just made that game really fun. And I will say, so I have not beat the game, so how can you review this? But I mean, I've loved the game all the way through. So there's not a single part where I've been like, nah, this game is whack for this. But I will say this probably in my list of top 10 hardest bosses of all time has to rank really high up there for final bosses. They didn't dud the final boss, um, and he just does some. He does some. I would say this: go into YouTube and type in Black Myth final boss, and just look at and just watch the outrageous things that he does to like to whoop your behind, and you like, bro, that's not even like that's not even fair. Like but you can't be mad at it at the same time. You're like, well, he's
You gotta
Wukong.
respect it. You gotta
Yeah,
respect it.
it comes with the territory. Um, so yeah, so there's that game, and then my other game is Eiyuden Chronicles. I remember. What up, Samo? By the way, I remember back when it was 20. Was it 2020 when we first saw the trailer for Eiyuden?
2020. It was 2020 because it's
And
supposed
we
to come out in 2022, but then it got pushed back to 2023.
Yeah,
Or
and
no,
we were
20,
no
2024.
2023, and push got back to 4. Yeah,
2024, yeah.
and we were really hyped over the
Yeah, until we saw
design
that
and all
date.
that stuff. Yeah, yeah. Um, and so like I was anticipating this game for a long time. Really excited about it, and when the game came out, I could see the appeal. 100 heroes and stuff like that. Is I mean, obviously not every person in the game is literally a hero, but it's it was a really good game. The story kind of missed some beats of emotional content. Um, but I think overall, if they were to make another game like Alien Chronicles 200 Heroes or something crazy like that, I think they could build on what they already had. The world building was really good, and the concepts and ideas behind the game were actually really good. You couldn't use special abilities with certain people unless they like had a relationship with another person. Like y'all, like pretty much everybody had a relationship with another person, but in order to have that special ability, they had to talk or be in um the same roster long enough. And you hear them. It's cool too because you hear them banter over time. Like you may hear the same end piece like, yeah, we got him, that's right, 10 or 11 times, but like at that 12th or 13th time somebody says something different and it ends up being a conversation between the two. And so you can see the building of the actual relationship, and then out of nowhere you're like, whoa, we got a special move. And then they're just like out of nowhere, oh, well, we've been practicing blah blah blah, and you're like, okay, so it is about relationships in this game. But yeah, that game, if I had to give it a grade, I would give it probably a solid 7. So if y'all like RPGs, turn-based RPGs, and the HD 2D look, definitely pick it up. Give it a try. Um, I guarantee you that it's probably not better than Unicorn Overlord Chanel, but it wholeheartedly in its own right is a really good game.
Right.
Okay. The only thing that has me worried about Wukong is the fact that they did not get the Wu-Tang Clan to do a theme for it. I'm like, it was right there.
You never know; it could come in the
RZA,
DLC fashion.
RZA, Jizzle. You could call RZA. He's probably down to do it. Method Man ain't got nothing to do right now. Could
Because
easily.
to be honest with you, that game it ends, but it doesn't actually end.
Right.
There's there's room for Wukong too. Definitely. So and I know this for a fact. I know it for a fact just of how the last boss is, that that it can't be the end of the whole story. So or I shouldn't say it can't be the end, but they have room enough to make additional story for the actual game itself. So if they like came back in and threw some some Wu Tang music in there, I wouldn't be surprised. At least for him to walk off to, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I was just surprised nobody thought of that, but
Right.
that's just me. That's just me. 'Cause
They're from
I know
Korea. They don't got that much money.
I mean, but the funny thing about it is, because I know the crowd that hates hip hop will probably be down my throat. This is a joke. So,
Hmm.
because
Nah, see, they hate hip hop until the song is on a game that they like
they
or
like,
something
yep.
that they
oh
like.
nah,
Mhm.
Then they like it.
yeah. But let's talk about games that were disappointing in
Mm.
2024 because I have a couple of them. One of them is Renatus from Furiou. I love the art style. I actually don't mind the gameplay. The problem is, I think, and this is a problem with most of the Furiou stuff, is it gets repetitive and boring
Yeah,
pretty
like
quick.
most games nowadays.
Yeah, so it wasn't like the enemy variety wasn't really there. And the way you have to do the gameplay is kind of like once you get the hang of it, it's all right. It's fine. It's not the greatest, but it's fine once you
Right.
get the hang of it. But it's one of those games where like I love the look and the art style, and I like the actual concept a little bit. But I think the gameplay needs to be tweaked a little, and they needed to do a better job on the variety. Now I do know Furiou is not a big studio, but it's one of those things where it you could have did a couple things different to make that
Mm-hmm.
a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, and I really do like the game, but the problem that I have with this one is in this Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, not the fighting game, the actual RPG game.
Okay.
The problem that I have with this one is like it's y'all ever play the game? It's too many particle effects to where you can't
Yeah.
see nothing. Like
For
you're in the
real.
middle of a fight, and like so you have your team with you. You're fighting this big enemy or this big monster, whatever. Y'all going there, y'all doing your moves and everything. You're linking up your moves and all that. It's going well, and the AI starts doing their super. When the AI does their super, now you can't see what's going on, and
Right.
you're getting hit from behind. So that's one of those. That's one of those games where I'm like, dude, look, I know y'all trying to be flashy and everything, but bruh, tone that down. Like, you tone that down a little bit, bruh. Because
That's right. I have a seizure.
yeah,
Right.
if you, I'm not even trying to be funny. If you suffer from like epilepsy or something, do not play Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Do
I'm
not.
surprised they don't give you like a disclaimer at the beginning.
Yeah, that was usually you usually have that at the beginning of a game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but by the time you get like 10 hours into it, you're gonna forget.
Yeah.
Mm.
By the time you get
Yeah,
10
that's
hours
true.
into it. So like the fighting game's fine. Like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, I'm having fun with that. But like the
Okay.
RPG game, the actual dude, it's just way too much for that. There was one more that I had, and I'm trying to where was it? Lollipop Chainsaw.
Mm.
They did now, granted, they did do patches for it.
Okay. That's
So
what I heard. Yeah.
I have not gotten back into that one since they did the patch. So I need to. That's the next one on my list because I know it's a quick game. I've beat it before, but
Mm-hmm.
I need to cue that one back up to see how those patches went. But
Okay.
at the beginning when it came out, just like Tales of Symphonia Remastered, the game was it was basically they did a 1-to-1. You can't do just a 1-to-1.
Okay.
You gotta fix it. You gotta fix your
Mm.
problems.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one thing I'm kind of worried about with Tales of Grace F because I am getting that game, and I'm a little worried that Bandai Namco just did a dirty port one to
Quick and
one, and
dirty.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't think you should do that. Like, do not do that.
Right.
I'm hoping I'm wrong, but y'all know I love Tales of Symphonia, and I was pissed off for like 5 months till they fixed it because it
Yeah.
was basically the PS3 version with all of the problems that the PS3 version had. So
Hey, they made it pure.
yeah. But they did go back and they did patch it. So they fixed a lot of the stuff in the I think it was like 2 patches they did.
Mm-hmm.
So they did go back and fix it, but that was one of those that I had like those are the two that stick out to me.
Okay.
For me through my gameplays. What about you, Jack?
One I would say is warranted, and then the other one I think is a little unfair because of circumstances, but I'm gonna give it anyway. But one one in particular was Sparking Zero. I have to
I didn't get to
always
play that yet.
have to continue to preface to people it's not a bad game. It's just that a lot of things change down the line. For example, when we first saw the game, immediately everybody went back to them playing Budokai 3, how we had local
Mm-hmm.
co-op, the whole 9
Mhm.
yards. They didn't even think about local co-op for this game. So then they implemented it late when people complained about it. and you can only play local in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Mm.
Now there's an update for you to do local on all the levels. It was
They really didn't think about that.
It's one of those things to where you can tell most companies feel like multiplayer online is where everybody's at, and that's what most people prefer. But you have to understand, there's a lot of people that do not care to play online. They don't want to go through the rigmarole of people that don't know how to communicate with humans. They just genuinely get online and they turn into somebody completely different, and they have no idea how to properly just get on here and say, all right, cool, I'm gonna get in you, whatever, pause. You like, I mean, there you can talk trash, but do it in a way to where is at that point to where we understand that, hey, we just doing that between.
So they go full freezer.
They go full racist off rip.
They go
they don't know
full
how to
freezer.
talk.
And you on the planet saying,
that's because this is the generation of gamers that didn't really grow up with arcades.
Yeah.
So
they
don't
be right with somebody.
Yeah, an arcade situation, or where you had direct home co-op, you was talking your trash, but you ain't gonna go personal.
Yeah,
right.
You was gonna talk your trash and move on.
Yeah, because you might get these hands and you don't. Yeah, like
but
people don't understand. You back when we was coming up, you did have to.
Yeah, you got to square up.
Like we'll put these controllers down and go outside to handle this, and then come back.
For sure.
Right.
And then with some of the people I grew up with, after they throw hands, they'll find a way to get your game up out your house and you ain't even know it.
Yep.
I've seen plenty of people like with the cases of the Xbox games they have in the back while everybody playing. They're like, I'm gonna take this, put it. By the time they get like, have you seen my game? Like, nah, man, we watching you play. Like, you know, that man whole catalog.
That's one reason why I learned when I was younger, keep my games where I can see them.
Yeah, because people will swipe your junk real quick, especially if you got like at least 5+ people sitting in your house. Yeah, people can swipe your stuff quick. But anyway, but then also too, one of those key things to where I still don't think fighting games have found a way to keep the casual crowd enticed. Like, if you're not a online player or a tournament player trying to perfect or main a character and learn every intricate in and out of that fighting system, they die. So there's really nothing there to where, of course, with Dragon Ball, though, is no discredit to it because it's so popular, but we've seen this story 1,000 damn times. But at the same time, they do have their what if scenarios in there, but then sometimes those like it's very unbalanced. There's times where I've gone into what if scenarios where I use Jiren fighting against Ultra Instinct Goku. There was times I walked in there and I couldn't move, like he tore my ass up. But then there was times where he got stuck on a rock and he's just sitting there staring at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can actually win this fight. Like, it's very unbalanced. So while that feature sounds good on paper, it didn't work well in execution. The same thing with the creation of like the story plots. Like my son had it plotted out. Oh, so Dad, I can make this storyline or make this fight happen to where if I beat Goku with Frieza, he'll like his 100 once he goes to 0%, then the Ultra Instinct, he'll go to Ultra Instinct. I was like, in a way, yeah, because how can I put it? They have Goku, base Goku, all the way up to Super Saiyan. I think it's God Super Saiyan. And then you have to have another Goku for the Ultra Instinct. It's like Sign and Ultra Instinct. So pretty much you're selecting 2 different characters to do this plot. So it kind of is like, okay, the first Goku dies and the other one substitutes in. Is very, very finicky in that way, and that's because they just have so many characters and there's some intricacies here and there on why they did it. It is what it is, but ultimately I think that's a fighting game problem across the board. Like if you're not playing local co-op, or if they don't have local co-op, then you have to do multiplayer. And if you don't have multiplayer, then there's nothing that's going to entice you to keep you playing that game from a single player standpoint. It's just, but that's what I told them, like, hey, that's where Tekken 3, Tekken 2, like all the Tekkens and Virtue Fighters and all that stuff kept me going, because you had to complete the arcade mode multiple times to unlock said characters for you to then have your friends come over to then play the local multiplayer with the characters that you've unlocked. So you had to put the work in. But that's one. And then the second one, like I said, it's unfair. I acknowledge this because I do think it is a good game, but it does have its dead moments too. So it's not like a perfect game, and that's Plucky Squire.
Mm.
And the reason why I put it here, one, like I said, unfair, but I got stuck in this weird glitch that I just never got a chance to get out of, and I could never finish the game. So that for me, in order for me to get past that, I would have to restart the entire game over. So that in itself kind of put a ding. But then as you're playing it and trying to open up, going between like the real life and then the story aspect or the drawn aspect of the game, that idea wears out real early. Like it looked cool, but then after a while you're like, you could have done better with this concept, but it just didn't. It wasn't executed past safe. They made sure they kept it very safe, in a sense of, okay, here's this area that you got to get to. Unfortunately, you can't get there. Hey, hint, hint, hint. You might need to leave the book for this. And really, you go, and it's very obvious you need to leave the book to go do something to bring it there. And it wasn't much of, your difference of, okay, let me hide from this enemy, because some enemies you just can't beat, and then let me sneak around and then get high enough to get this and swap back and forth between the wall and being in 3D, and it looks cool, but in all honesty it wears out real fast.
Mm.
So for me it was more of a disappointment because, like I said, on paper and in trailers it showcases great, but once you get past that novelty for the first 2 hours, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, what else you got for me? And in reality, it really doesn't present anything else for you.
So it was the thought was there, but they didn't find a interesting way to keep it,
Correct.
fresh. Okay.
Yeah, it's just, and that might be also credited to the fact that I couldn't finish the game. So maybe after playing it for 15 hours, maybe the 20th hour is where the excitement kicked in. Don't
Yeah.
really know, but ultimately, when it comes down to it, the story itself wasn't really interesting. It, like I said, it was really just a matter of, hey, this guy likes to draw these characters, but the enemy somehow found out that the story, like him as a writer, was the reason why he kept losing. So he found a way to take that power away from the human writer and kind of make it work in his favor. So cool, but in execution is very bland.
Yeah.
So if they do if they do a part two, I think they have to go a little bit further in the execution of how you go about doing it and swapping out a little bit faster and doing it multiple times, opposed to go hop in the book. Okay, you did what you had to do in the book. Okay, go hop in the real world. Okay, you did in the real world, hop back in the book. It is very basic. It's very generic. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't play Dragon Ball Sparking Zero because when I saw how many characters, I'm like, I'm not doing this, because that was one of the things that turned me off with not three, not Budokai Tenkaichi 3. It was the one after that where they had like 100 or something characters. I'm like, dude, that's too many. It's
Right.
just way too many.
Mm-hmm.
But it
So,
really doesn't, like,
and it doesn't add anything to it.
I get the justification, but then when you stop and you say, okay, well, in reality, you could have just had base forms and then
Right.
allowed, much in the same vein as Budokai, allow someone to pick their attack set, like the move
Mhm.
set. You could have done that, because I get it, like, oh, if you start off with base, you have these moves and then can transform into a higher level, to where
Right.
if I start off as Blue Gogeta, then I only have these moves and I can't regress into regular Gogeta, who has this move set, which in turn I should have all move sets if I'm the higher form of it.
Which,
It's like,
that's
but
And
but
if I'm mistaken, when you start off as Gogeta, you don't get the actual boost in power, right?
no, you don't. So that's where the problem comes in. And then also too, it's one of those things of, if I'm doing a team battle, if I get blue Gogeta, and you could turn this feature off, but at that point you're kind of cheating. But if I have the feature on to where it has like the I forget what the points are called, but if I get Blue Gogeta, I can't then go and get like Ultra Instinct and then go get Broly, like, because there's numbers on what their quality is, and
Hmm.
it maxes out at, I think, what was it, 15 or 20, something like that. So really, if I want like the super team, I could probably get a max of 2, or 3 fighters to where if I get like a bunch of like basic ones that can power up, then I can probably like end up with 5 people. So I could try to take my 5 against your 2, and work it that way. So I get how they try to level it out, but in reality, like you saying you have 181 characters is kind of similar to saying you have 151 Pokemon. In reality, I started off with Charmander and he evolved. I don't
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, granted, yeah, I can catch Charizard and Charmeleon separate, but in reality, like
No,
you
you
start
can't.
off
You can't catch
Charmander,
them separate.
you really can't. But they ain't just floating around here. But in reality, like Goku is Goku. Like if you want to say Kid Goku and you want to do the GT Goku, and okay, I understand that because they differ. But
hmm
if we're talking about Z, I shouldn't have 1,000 freaking Gokus. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so they fluffed the game, and there were characters missing, which you can tell it was deliberate, so that way they can get you to buy DLC.
Yeah,
So I think
that's
it's another nasty tactic in itself.
What up, Black? Appreciate you coming through, bro.
All right, Samson, what about you, man?
Man, I use mine on Eiyuden Chronicles for good games. There hasn't, for me, there hasn't really actually been any bad games for the fact that if I didn't want to pick it up, I wasn't picking it up. Basically, is how that went. It's it's 2024 was like a room to be able to choose. You had options. I do want to move a Union Chronicles into my maybe don't pick it up list, even though I gave it a lot of hype, because I would move actually Diablo 4 with its DLC into that space of do pickups, because that was a really good DLC. The new character is really fun. And it continues on with the story and all the hypeness surrounded around that. But yeah, man, I don't really have a huge don't pick up or like a disappointment, I should say.
Right.
My disappointment of 2024 is disappointed that there weren't more games that were not disappointing. That there shouldn't have been as many games to avoid. Put it that way.
Oh, okay.
He's disappointed that there's so much trash out there.
Yeah,
It's almost like we're back to the bloatware era in a way.
Yeah,
We kind of are actually. And
It never really left.
sad. Yeah, it never left.
That's true. That is true.
All right, Andre, what about you?
For my most disappointing game for 2024,
Yeah.
for me, none, because I didn't play any of the stuff that everybody had trouble with.
Mhm.
I avoided that stuff wholeheartedly.
So there wasn't.
100%.
So there wasn't anything that you played that you wanted to play that was like disappointing.
Nothing that I wanted to play that I was able to get that was messed up.
Okay.
So in essence, I just lucked out that I didn't run into those problems.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like Game Pass kind of saved me from that a little bit. It was just I was so enamored with Dragon Ball that it was a pickup regardless.
Like I was gonna pick it up, but once again, that's one of it came out in October, and I already had like 3 games pre-ordered. I'm like, there ain't no way.
Right.
Like, there's no way. So, and I actually lucked out because I would have been day one, and I would have been day one pissed. So
right, that part.
So, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go to the 2024, the weird things that happened. These 2 weird things that happened. I feel bad for the companies.
Okay.
I do. One, Vision of Mana.
Okay.
They got closed the week the game came out.
That's crazy.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, because I had fun with the demo. The demo was fun. So once again, that's another game. It's on my list to get. The problem is it came out and if Legend of Zelda's dropping, I'm not getting nothing but Legend of Zelda.
Right.
So Vision of Mana, I'm sorry, you messed up. But the demo is fun. Like I'm like, bro, I'm gonna pick this game up, but they closed down that studio. What, the week it released, and I'm like, how y'all get closed? Y'all just released Concord. I think Concord
Well,
is the.
I'm gonna say that's a disappointment though.
The reason why I say I feel bad is because one, they should have probably somebody at Sony or some exec should have said at year 4, hey man, we need to change this because this ain't gonna work.
Apparently they did though, and it went
But
on deaf ears.
Yeah, so that's the thing though. I mean, I feel bad for because no one that game shouldn't have cost that much. Because you're not gonna make that money back. This ain't the movie industry. You're not gonna make your money back in a weekend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I think, and that's another thing I think is a problem with the gaming industry as far as these AAA games are concerned. Like, you're sitting up here doing all this stuff. Your game costs 150, $200 million, and you thinking you're gonna make that back in a month or a week or a weekend. No, dude. No. I mean, there's 8 billion people on this planet. There's 145 million Switches out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You do the math. I'm like, bro, if you send up here, if Spider-Man 2 costs 200 million and Sony can't even get the money back on that,
right?
What makes you think Concord gonna make it? That's a brand new IP.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to stop and think for the type of money they're looking for. The only games that succeed in that type of play is free-to-play games.
Yeah,
they're the only ones that succeed like that. And granted, yeah, this was paid for, so that was the first mistake. But but second, it tends to be those less impressive games. Like the fact that this Christmas, my son was like, "Hey, Dad, I don't want nothing else but Roblox."
Wow.
Like that's all I want.
mean,
I want Rebucks. I want Robux. He was like, that's what he wants, and they're literally in there right now because they dropped
playing with games and making stuff in it.
Yeah.
Well, they don't even make nothing. They just play the stuff that people make, and they're playing a Blue Lock game that just released in Roblox. Like that is where the free to play is, or with them on the VR side, they do Gym Class, the basketball game. And so he's like, Dad, can I get splash coins? And then the NBA partner up with him, like, so we can get the NBA courts and jerseys, but you don't have to pay for the game.
Man, RJH already said.
Thank you, RJ, because I was about to say that.
I was like,
Right.
Games industry is making a lot of revenue, but profitability
they're not
way down
because
profit matters more.
If that was the case, they wouldn't consider Spider-Man 2 because they was considering that they didn't meet sales expectations. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has not met sales expectations. We already know about Concord. Vicious Amanda did not meet sales expectations. All these games not meeting sales expectations. There is a problem.
Yeah,
there is a massive problem because if you're not, and I'll put it to you like this: Astrobot wins Game of the Year, right?
Yep.
How much did it sell, man?
That game is
right now. We know 1.5 right now, right?
I'd say it's barely at 2 million, probably at 2 million at best right now.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense because
that's
Astrobot should be flying off the shelves.
It should
be. That game should easily right now be in the tens of millions of sales at the moment.
And I'm subtracting the fact that I won Game of the Year.
Especially the way some people in the Sony crowd talk. You think that game sold 35 million in 2 days?
Yeah,
it didn't.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Well, Lek, we already know why Astrobot really won, and that's because they couldn't get Shadow of the Erd Tree to win.
Yeah,
no, you did.
They couldn't let that
backlash. They couldn't.
That backlash was
they were going to until
they were. Yeah, it was too powerful.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like stuff, but TG Mario's a well-known name. Is a well-known
right.
That's gonna that should not be surprising. That's like
Mario
Call of
at
Duty.
this point is more popular than Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, and that's like Call of Duty. Call of Duty's gonna sell them first 2 weeks.
It can suck, and people still gonna gravitate towards it.
I mean, Ghost was horrible.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is at this point. But that's what I'm saying. Like the problem is you got newer games doing this, and their budgets are ridiculous.
You need to establish your franchise before you can try. I mean, having a game that costs that much.
I think that's key right there.
Yeah.
There's not many companies that still try to establish a name. Like I said, that I didn't even realize how long the Tales series in itself had been around. So, but they built up that brand. Unfortunately, the titles in themselves are just wild, and so like you really can't figure
Right,
things
that
out.
part.
But there's no real character to stick to it. The same thing when you think about Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Like
they're all
I think they really
standalone.
need to change that title from Final. But
Well,
like
when it originally came out, it made sense because that
it was supposed to be the last
the
game.
last game.
made.
So yeah, but
Hey.
it blew up. So
I guess almost Final Fantasy. Let's put that almost in there. But
yeah.
ultimately, I
No,
think
Final Fantasy almost.
right. But the thing is,
Gonna
like,
be
while
Final.
it got its success going into that 3D era, in reality, it really didn't go anywhere from there. I mean, 7 is the one that people claim the fame, and to me, honestly, I think that's more just because of the switch from 2D to 3D. Because I don't think 7's all that great. I really don't. I prefer 8.
I think it's Sephiroth, dude. It's Sephiroth.
It's
He came with his
Sephiroth
own.
is the main
True.
reason.
Sephiroth came with his own Georgia Mass Choir doing his
Look,
doggone.
and that's okay to love a character, but I'm not gonna dub an entire game behind it. Now, because I'll choose 8 and 10 over 7 any time of the day. But
Bruh, you want to know something funny? Like back in '97, like some of the ads that like Square and Sony put out for Final Fantasy VII, like they were going at Ocarina of Time, like literally, and I'm sitting there like, bruh, y'all really want that smoke? And
right,
it really didn't turn out well. Like Final Fantasy VII is beloved, but Ocarina of Time was like the bar got set when that came out. I'm like, bruh,
yeah,
the ads that they took out of like comics and newspapers and stuff. I'm like, bro, y'all are wild. Y'all really are mad that Nintendo did that. Yamaguchi did y'all like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it is one of those things to where there is a somewhat of a recipe for your game getting to those double digits and millions, like the tens plus, because I think first, like y'all said, you need a household name. Like it needs to be a game that no matter what it is, people know your name and they're gonna trust it, so they're gonna come pick it up. It's kind of like going to your favorite content creator. Like you don't know what they're gonna talk about. You don't even know what they're going to say, but you say, you know what? I fool with them so much so because I love their previous work. I'm just going to go tune in, just because. So when you look at that and then, all right, cool. What is the game in itself? And I think that's where you start talking about sequels at that point. Because I mean, spinoffs are cool, but they don't sell as much as the main lines. And so if you say, all right, if I came to you and I say, all right, cool, a new mainline Mario dropping, you don't really question. You just say, all right, cool, I'm going to get the mainline Mario. But if it was like, okay, a new 2D Mario dropping, it kind of get the same credibility, but I don't think it's at the level of 3D at this point in time. And then Zelda with the Switch, it's pretty much gone to the highest it's ever gone at this point. So now people are clamoring for the 3D Zeldas, but now they're asking for the dungeons to come back.
Which they claim to hate.
Which they claim to hate. I said, people have
them water temple and dungeons.
The revisionist history is crazy, but it's but all in all, I mean, when we talk about Astro showed up in the PS3 era.
I think that was the first time.
Like
just kind of like with Little Big Planet.
Yeah, and
wasn't
then,
it
like,
PS4 because of PSVR?
Why do I feel like Astro's been around longer before that?
I thought it was like when it,
or maybe they had something, but I could have sworn it was PSVR.
I know the first legit thing where it was just
PSVR.
Was PSVR, and then it was the
you talking? And maybe it was just like the PlayStation Home thing.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it might have been. But I thought that was PS4 too, because that was when people was getting it in on the.
yeah.
It was PS4.
It might be because Sackboy still ran PS3 back then, so it might have been 4 when we first got Astro. Now we're on 5. Now Astro has had one generation to build a name for itself, and I don't think it has done very well. Solely because VR was its first iteration, and then the second iteration was a free demo, or I wouldn't call it a demo, but a free game that came with the PS5, and then they did another one for PS5. And from what I saw on the VR side, that's where people got pissed off, because it was something that started off as VR, and then they transferred it over to what they call flat gaming. And and that's where people were unhappy about it. So I think that's where it kind of they shot themselves in the foot too. You start off on one platform where people loved it, brought it to flat where people don't care, and now you're kind of stuck in between the two.
Yeah, that's
it's tough.
I'm saying the weird stuff just been weird. Samsung, you got anything weird from 2024?
I mean, Concord, obviously, that was probably the most weirdest thing.
Yeah.
A whole lot of how did that happen?
That situation,
yeah, like I think at that point, if Sony had before the game came out and said, we've spent X amount of money on this game, and kind of hide the fact, like, oh, we're very excited about this game coming out, blah 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 blah, But I think the fact that it was like, dang, we ain't making headwind on this game. Just drop it. Just drop it. Just send it out. Just send it out. Just send it out.
Then you drop it. What is 2 weeks later?
And then drop it 2 weeks later. Like, let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. Yeah, that's and this is crazy because we've seen this move kind of from Sony in different actions. I remember when Cyberpunk wasn't doing too well.
Right.
And it was kind of a hot mess on the PS5 when it first came out, so they pulled it from the store. So you couldn't play it. I think they did the same with Stellar Blade, if I'm not mistaken, but it was with the clothing, right? With
because they had to censor it.
Yeah.
Then they put it back in.
And then they put it back in.
Yeah.
So it's not like we haven't seen like somewhat of these moves before, but they're always from somebody else's games. You know what I'm saying? Like this always comes from somebody else's game. So for Concord to come out and then it be like, nah, we ain't messing with that, and get the full pull on that. Yeah, that was definitely a weird moment. Full transparency, weird moment. Sandstorm guesses that Switch 2 is going to be revealed in October. And I was all over that. I gloated like crazy on Twitter. I told y'all it wasn't going to be September. I told y'all it wasn't going to be September because it's in October. I told y'all. And October came and went. So I had to eat some quite a bit of humble pie. I am stuffed. I am a little bit full still from that. But that was definitely weird. That was weird on my part because I don't normally jump on a chance like that until it actually comes, and I just give you the smile, like, yeah.
You got so used to being right this one time, it just didn't work out.
It's just this one time. I tell you, I know for a fact that my cousin's uncle, not in relation, works at Nintendo, and they said they actually were going to push the button on that release trailer and heard me say that I bet you that it's going to be in October. And somebody literally grabbed the the button pushing man and was like, not this month. Not this month. But yeah, those are and I would say lastly, the Summer Fest 2024. I think this is probably the first time also in a while where it is, for the most part, was kind of silent.
He was mad. He was mad this year.
That was because he was ticked off all the major hitters didn't want to do his show because of how he was behaving.
Yeah. And I think it's funny in retrospect now that is also kind of weird, but like laughably weird, that they dogged the mess out of him during the Game Awards. Had his head.
He didn't know that was on there. He didn't know they were going to do that. You could tell by his face.
Yeah, they ate that boy alive.
Bruh, the Muppets. Yeah. Bro, you can tell because like the first couple they did, he had that little smirk on his face. Okay,
He knew it was coming.
Them last three,
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
he was just he looked at like when he did that, like what? I'm like,
He like,
yeah,
who approved this behind my back?
Right.
Because that's what that was. Who approved this without telling me?
yeah.
And
Basically.
chances are those jokes were sent to him for approval, but he waved it off to somebody else.
Yep.
Yep.
And they said,
Well,
oh, well,
And
these
they was
sound
like,
funny to me. Put them in.
boss ain't giving me enough money.
the only thing I will say this though, the best thing about that award show was the big homie Joseph just basically telling
Oh,
me,
yeah,
hey,
he-
hey, look at my kids. Look at
my
hey,
baby.
look at my wife. She fine as
Yeah.
hell, ain't she? She fine as
He
hell.
said, yeah, look
that
at my
was
wife
truly
and,
it.
and look at my babies over there.
Bring
Yeah,
the
look,
babies
like,
in here.
put
Bring
the
the
camera,
babies in
put the
here.
camera over there. Don't make me come up. There you go. Yeah,
And
that's
Jeff knew it was going to happen. He said, we are regretfully going to give this man the opportunity.
Right. Look at me and agree. Look at me and agree.
Y'all need to stop getting regretful about Joseph because he be making the show fun.
I
He
know,
really
but
do.
bro, he is the
Mhm.
best part of the damn show every year.
Mhm.
But
I told you, make him the host. Make him the host. Don't play
they
around.
should. They should.
Yep.
Jeff himself needs to stop hosting. He's
That's
not
what I
interested.
said. Yeah, he's
I
not.
was,
He's not a good host.
bro,
At all.
it was just funny that Joseph like basically told the camera, "Hey man, hey,
And
get my
they
kid."
listen. My
And
thing
And
is
they
that
listen
they
to
listen.
him.
It's not that he said it. It's that they listen. That makes
Yo, Joe.
It's funny because I know they didn't. They didn't like look over at Jeff like, "What do we do?" Like they
nah,
were
they
just
just
like, "Okay."
yeah.
I think
That tells
in that
me. That
I
tells
think
me
in
my
that
man
moment
was looking at him the whole time, like, "Dang, Joseph, wife, fine." Like,
yeah.
I think
look at my
I think
wife.
though
Okay, I got
I
permission.
think though in essence Jeff said whatever he says
Just
do
do it.
it so we can
Right.
move the show along.
Right.
Because they would have got hung up on trying to figure out what to do, everything would have halted.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know Joseph can see the cameras, so he'd have been like, "Hold on." He would have stood there waiting.
Mhm.
He would
Yeah.
have stood there waiting, like,
And especially if he already had a couple in them.
No, don't take my mic from me. This is my mic.
I'm pretty sure before he got up on that stage, he had at least three solid drinks.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
He had 3 solid drinks when he got up there.
Yeah, so Joseph was always a good time at the Game Awards. That's all. Like he just needs to be a staple of the Game Awards.
Yeah.
He just does.
Honestly, I want him to just do his own show. Forget that. Let's do Joseph out.
This is the Joseph
Do
show.
his own show.
All right. So Shadow, man, what did you find weird about 2024, sir?
Nothing actually. Everything kind of went the way you would expect. So you got 2 consoles that are trying to chase resolution, and the systems aren't capable of doing that. So they come up with excuses to get around it.
Right.
So now you have all this upscaling foolishness, and all these different modes. So you have your performance mode and your quality mode. Like you're conceding that you couldn't do the thing you promised you could do. So that's just, I saw that coming because it's not, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but capitulating to the craziest third-party demands for game engines will never work because they're always going to want more. And again, this is the same thing that Shigeru Miyamoto and Iwata have talked about endlessly. Like, when do we stop? Capcom wanted 2 extra gigs of RAM or whatever, right? Epic wanted, an extra 256 megs of RAM for the 360. If you keep asking another third party, they're going to ask you for more and more things or whatever, and it's never going to be like, how about just write a good game?
Yeah.
The whole point is your holdup is you want to make a game as if your PC target exists, and that's not what you're going to be developing for. So why build? This is not a Shadowcast, but why would you want to? Why would you want to develop, as if PC is your target when you have limits for a reason, and you can make the game shine because within those limits, there's not a single other platform that's different than the one that you developed for.
Right.
So you get to make a really good game, and every PlayStation that runs that game, every Xbox that runs that game, every Switch that runs that game runs it the same.
Right.
So
But
why
Shadow,
wouldn't you
Shadow.
take advantage of that?
But Shadow, as a tech enthusiast,
Mm, yeah, which means you're just enthused about something you don't understand.
Right.
right? Correct,
Like
sir.
complaining that the Xbox Series S doesn't have enough RAM for games, comparing it
Boy.
to a normal
I will
PC.
say this. I will say
Right.
this though, Shadow. I know you were happy. I know you were happy the first of last year, when Ubisoft just came out and straight up said, "Look, Switch was the lead platform for Prince of Persia: Lost Crown."
Mhm.
And what happened when Switch was the lead platform?
Sales went up.
The game looked beautiful
went up, right?
everywhere.
Game
ran
worked
great.
well
The game looked
everywhere.
good
It was
everywhere,
great.
right?
Yeah, game looked well everywhere. Yep.
I made a
East
video
End
called
Nordics.
"Elephant in the Room." Anybody that's new to this, right? We got a couple of new viewers, right? I have a video. It's called "Elephant in the Room." Watch it. Watch it.
Yep.
I think it's like 4 years old now, maybe 5. Watch it. It's amazing. It's amazing. If you develop for not necessarily the weakest platform, but the most popular platform, the game can work everywhere.
Yep.
Game can work everywhere. Let's put it this way. When Sony had the weakest platform, it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
PS2 games worked everywhere.
Yep.
And the how can I say this? The highest amount of people were able to play it. So
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know why all of a sudden when Nintendo's in that boat, all that logic goes away.
Yeah, because
yes, PS2 was weaker than GameCube, and it was weaker. I mean, Xbox was weaker than GameCube in some places. Like
in some places,
yeah.
The thing that made PS2 that got them the majority of those sales was the fact that it was a cheaper DVD player. People don't want to admit that.
They really don't.
They don't want to admit it. Like a DVD player back in 2000 cost like $400 or $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just watching the episode of Martin where he had a CD player for $400. So DVD players was ridiculous.
It was replaced with them. So people were getting the PS2 because it basically played DVDs and video games. So they killed two birds with one stone. Because you got kids now, they got their game console. You got something you can watch movies on too. So and it was cheaper than buying it separate.
Even though that was the worst DVD player on the market at the time.
Yeah,
exactly. My Discman was $150 at the time.
Yeah,
my Discman, like it didn't read MP3s. So if you put MP3s on the CD, there was no shortcut for that. It was not reading them. Only raw AIFF or the legitimate waveform files. That's the only thing that it can see. So if it ain't a raw disc, it ain't reading it.
as soon as Nintendo updates theirs, it's going to be up to 195 million.
Yes, you. Sony will add 5 million every quarter.
Every quarter, I'm just finding these PS2s that sold somehow. I'm like, okay, the PS2 number went up, but the game sales didn't.
Right.
Nope, it didn't.
The game sales didn't go up at all. So now you're ruining your attachment rate.
Yes.
To still say you had the highest selling console.
That number's gonna hit 200 million, dude. That number's gonna hit 200 million.
Listen, like we were saying yesterday, Risky, God bless him, was saying that PS5 was gonna hit 185 million, and
I don't know how.
He could be right,
He could be very wrong.
Once they get the answer, once they get the final numbers, and then they but wait. 15 years later, they still selling consoles. Still selling PS5.
I think PS5 Pro is a concession. Not only that they need upscaling on PlayStation, but also they need another model to get to 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think right now it's not looking too good before PS6.
Yeah, because I'm like that right now. Like if that's the case, they done shot themselves in the foot. Because bro, people is out here. They do realize how the economy look worldwide, right?
Right.
So you probably gonna hit that, bro. Unless you plan on hitting that in 10, 15 years. Hopefully the economy turns around.
And
also software drives hardware, and like nobody bought Astrobot. They should have, but nobody bought Astrobot. and nobody's really checking for Stellar Blade like that. Really good game. Nobody's checking for it.
Stellar Blade
How
should
well
have been
did Ghost
on
do?
PS4.
Because that's
Ghost
another
on
game that shit did
PS4.
good.
I think it did it sell 8 million. I think it did. I think it sold 8.
Say it did. I want to say it did.
But that's a really good game too. And I don't want to be skeptical about it, but I really think that game is not going to sell well. I don't think the sequel's going to sell well at all.
Yes,
no,
sir.
it probably
because they're already trying to. They've already started with the whole woke agenda, and I'm like, y'all need to stop that.
Yeah.
So I'm like that. Nah, but I feel bad. Like Stellar Blade, and even to some extent Astro Bot. I'm like, that should have been on PS4. Both of them.
Yeah, both of them should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I know people gonna sit there and be mad at me saying that, but I'm like, I'm sorry, the PS4 has a bigger base than the PS5 does. And clearly, the PS5 base ain't buying it like that.
So
Clearly.
Dark Eye Sim said this, right? It said if Nintendo is the simplest to port for, it's not going to be lead platform for the game. Like my thing is, it doesn't matter what Nintendo does. Like Nintendo can have it. Like Switch is probably the most straightforward of a development platform Nintendo's had in decades. Probably since GameCube, right? As far as being straightforward to be able to just jump straight into making the game. PS2 was notoriously hard to program for. Same for PS3. And developers still
they broke their neck to do it
for whatever reason, because those publishers are like, go fucking do it because Sony gave us a check. So
yeah,
them
backdoor deals.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. I don't know, man. I don't think Nintendo could do any right here.
Look, when Iwata figured out that, look, we had a powerful system in the GameCube, y'all still made up excuses.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. And then in 2005 or 2006 at the GDC, he straight up called the industry out to their face.
Yeah.
People said he was crazy.
Easy to develop for, the fastest bandwidth of any console then at the time. Internal bandwidth was insane. Still rivals. It's faster than any SSD today. Still, you're talking over 10 gigabytes per second. For some of that internal bandwidth there for the frame buffer and other things in the system. So, like, it was ahead of its time, and Sony even thought about it at the time for PS4. They thought about, instead of using the GDDR5, they thought about doing just eDRAM. So I mean, Mark Cerny said it out loud. They actually explored it because of Wii U and because of GameCube before.
They should have done that. It would have been cheaper for them to make the PS4.
Yep. But you gotta. That's why I don't understand why Sony published that whole Mark Cerny thing. Because I'm like, dude, the average gamer that's watching this don't understand a thing he's saying.
Nope. All they hear is it's a new system, and it's a new system. We gonna have the best system. That's it.
But the same thing happened with the PS5. You remember he did the same thing before it released, because people were clamoring for information about the PS5. He did this, and then
nobody understood
content creators just went crazy. This means it can do this, and this is going to be this, and it's compared to the 3070. And
I'm sitting here like, if I can listen to Mark Cerny talk and understand what he was saying, I don't know how any of y'all don't.
You don't have to.
You are in the industry. You're around this stuff way more than I am. And if I pick up on the nuance, something wrong with y'all.
And he was really, what the crazy thing about it was, he can get really nerdy, and he wasn't talking nerdy in any of those documents or those videos. Like, he was really
being as straightforward as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he knew his audience didn't understand it. Because the first time he did it, they didn't understand it. And that's where I get mad at certain people in the industry, like Greg Miller, Colin Moriarty, Adam Seltzer, people like that. Because, like, they don't understand, but they big up stuff to the point where you're like, dude, I know you don't have any tech knowledge whatsoever. You're talking out your behind right now, and people gonna run with your quotes because you hate to have to use the word, but you are a fanboy for Sony. So anything they say, you're gonna run with it like it's the Holy Ghost gospel, and people are gonna listen to you instead of being like, hold up, this don't make sense or this don't sound right.
Yeah, I forgot. It was him. It was Greg Miller, and there was another guy, Aaron Goldman, whatever it was. Yeah. Like he was on the Xbox team, and they were like both. I think he actually works for Xbox now, but they were like die-hard fans, and both of their goals was to every now and then talk about the other platform, but both of them would talk shit about Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
They would like go together on videos to talk shit about Nintendo.
But if you bring that up now,
together,
if you bring that
We
up right
weren't
now,
fanboys.
Greg Miller will lie to your face and be like, "I ain't never do that."
he talked shit about Wii U too.
He really did.
I mean, Greg,
He
we
still had
know you.
Yoshida's
I'm
face.
sorry, Greg, you've never did that. Your pasty body would have not ended up in the Spider-Man game.
Mm.
Because the funny thing about it, like that, because the funny thing about that whole entire situation, because Shadow, me and you went to Brian Altano on Twitter about it, and he tried to pretend like he didn't know what we was talking about.
Pulled the clip right up.
Yeah,
Brap.
yeah, like bro,
Brap. No response.
Yoshida called y'all fanboys to your face. Y'all had a 2-hour podcast the next week.
Hurt feelings.
You know what's so funny is that we still get that even now. A new
Mhm.
terminology came out, and boy, it's so funny that it came from Sony's camp. Like, I don't know if they can exclusively use the word now. If us Nintendo people and Xbox people are allowed to use the word, because I don't want to be claimed
Cultural
gamist
appropriating.
or not, but flopflation. You know what I'm
Flopflation.
saying?
We got to add the
That's a
Mr.
good
T
one. I ain't
special
gonna
to
lie.
it. We got to
That
call
is a
it
good one.
titty flopflation. We got to add
Titty flopflation.
Yeah, you got to add the Mr. T to it. This-
Yeah,
I mean,
all of the
if we
flops.
talking about flops, I mean, Sony has the most flops this
Right.
generation.
This is
Right.
true.
They
Accord on
they
strong.
had. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if we Nintendo and Xbox fans can call it like that. I don't know if it's gamist or not. That's our
Right.
word. Only we can use that
Only
word.
we
You
can
know
say
what I'm
that. You saying it, you're being mean. We can
Right.
say it, but you can't.
So, and so here's the thing, right? So I got into a discussion with somebody before, and they keep talking about the teraflops thing, right? And I'm like, well, the Switch is doing a teraflop, and they're like, well, no, it's not because it's actually doing FP16. I was like, oh, so accuracy matters to you? Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then why aren't all the flops you're counting coming from your CPU? Because the CPU does flop counts way better and more accurate than the GPU can. Block.
Mm.
No more conversation. Block.
he's a tech enthusiast. So you're being mean to him.
Because we're talking about accuracy, right?
I mean to all of them, so I don't care.
A supercomputer, a room full of CPUs, will give you the most accurate flops you'll ever get. Because the CPU is designed to be accurate. It's not designed to do a whole bunch of things in parallel really fast, right? That's what GPUs are. They're SIMD engines that are just linked to each other to do the same thing multiple times. Not exactly accurately. Now, when you start adding FP32, FP64, and stuff like that, you get a little bit more granular because you're doing more matrix math at one time, so you can be a little bit more accurate. But a CPU is infinitely more accurate than that. It's just going to take longer time because it has to do cache misses and it has to do branch prediction and all this other stuff to get you your result. So I make that part of the conversation block. I'm like, all right. But I thought you was, if you're going to talk about, like, if you're going to change the conversation and start saying that these flops don't count because they're not as accurate enough, okay, then let's talk about the most accurate flops. That's on the CPU, and those CPUs are weak, bro.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Boy.
Oh boy,
Mr. Max
gotta love a tech enthusiast. Gotta love him.
It's just wild to me, man. It's wild. Like the conversation they always go a certain way. And then I was talking we talked about this last night, Sandstorm, how you can tell individuals are running back and forth to a forum because they'll be going back and forth with you on Twitter like every second. And then the moment you're like, hey, tell me about this very specific thing you're saying is so great and explain why.
They get silent.
Yeah, because
I was at work. I didn't have time to talk to you.
No, I can't really.
What's that SpongeBob meme? 3 hours later.
But if you just call somebody a curse word, they'll reply back they'll pay to have a longer tweet to respond to.
One second. I want to answer Lex's question here. So the highest selling PS5 game currently is Spider-Man 2 with 11 million units. There are 21 games on the Nintendo Switch right now that have sold more than 11 million units. 21, with the highest being Mario Kart.
Mario Kart
8 Deluxe at over 64 million units.
That's disgusting.
with the
That
Sony
is
with
gross.
the
And the
Sony
second
Pictures
highest,
licensing.
the second highest is Animal Crossing at nearly 50 million.
Yeah,
Well, the
and
thing
so
is,
like you said,
the
Spider-Man
attach
is not
rate.
even something they actually developed.
Yeah,
Not even
Spider-
AIP.
It's not.
this the IP ain't there. They on the verge of losing it.
Oh yeah,
Boy.
they
So-
definitely about to lose it.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. The Disney IP and the Disney money plus Sony Pictures plus
Well, Sony Pictures
Sony
done lost it.
Studios.
Sony Pictures done lost. From what I understand, they done lost Spider-Man because of them. That Craven, that did not do
Did
nothing.
not do well.
And they were like, they got to cut it because they done lost too much money.
Yep.
They keep trying with all these people outside of Spider-Man
Yeah.
and really think it's gonna work
Here's
without
how.
Spider-Man.
No, it ain't. It's never gonna work without Spider-Man.
I'm gonna
Unless
crunch on the
you're
mic
doing
real
Venom.
quick. I'm gonna crunch on the mic real quick. Animal Crossing sold over 20 million copies in 9 months.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
That's
it did.
And that's the crazy part about all
That was the pandemic game.
Yeah, as if
That's
other games
pandemic.
didn't release in that same time frame.
Yeah,
But
the funny thing about that was that's another one that was supposed to have been boycotted.
right.
Oh yeah, that was definitely supposed to be boycotted.
But that's another thing too, to where I don't understand how most people try to point it as a negative, like, oh, Nintendo gamers only buy first party. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah,
like we're supposed to buy the
it's not
first
a
party
negative,
games. They make it
Right.
exclusive for the console. The fact that you have exclusives and you're not buying them is showing credit that you don't really care about that company per se. You just want to brag and boast about whatever, and you
Right.
purchase what I say your catalog is probably 90% third party. I mean, look, if Nintendo drops good games and they outpace and outdo everybody else, I can't help it. I'm gonna purchase what they're gonna put out.
I would love to play another Hi-Fi Rush. I would love to buy another one. I would love, man, Sunset Overdrive. I would love to see something. And when I say this, I don't mean sequels to those games. I mean games coming out like that. That's first party and made in that way with that type of originality. I'm here for that. I will purchase those games on those other platforms specifically for those reasons. I'm not looking for third-party games on these platforms.
No.
Like we're all using PC right now. We're using PCs. Like sometimes I'll join this on a Mac. A lot of the times I'm on a PC doing this. We could all just game. We don't need consoles for this. So like, what are we even doing? You know, when it comes down to it, we buy those things for those certain experiences that those platforms can provide that a PC cannot. So I don't know. It just really it's really rough to me when that conversation you try to turn first party or exclusive into a negative. Like, what do you expect? And then at the same time, the same Sony fan will brag about exclusives and then talk about
they
Xbox
don't have
none.
But think about an exclusive winning game of the year that they don't buy. They haven't bought.
Yeah,
that's my problem. If you're gonna brag about all the games, at least buy some of them.
But
some
we saw,
I'm not expecting you to get all of them, just some of them.
We saw a comment last night of like, Mario could never win Game of the Year, but Astro did. I'm like, but Astro could never sell 20 to 30 plus million like Mario either. Yeah. So which one you want to choose? You want to award or you want sales?
Let me tell you which one. Let me tell you which one Sony execs want. I'll tell you which one they want. I promise it's not what you think.
I like to say this too. Jeff Keighley is only so old, and the Game Awards have only been around for so long. Yeah, I recall Super Mario 64 winning several Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, it did.
Across multiple media platforms.
Didn't Mario Galaxy win a bunch of them too?
I'm pretty sure they did too.
And
I know they
won.
I think they actually won IGN's Game of the Year one year.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because the Game Awards, if the Game Awards started out as the Video Game Awards on Spike TV.
Yep.
And then when Spike kind of sort of went under, that's when he did it in the first one was 2013. Because that's when he was in that garage and like Joe McHale basically was like, he picked the wrong dude. Then 2014 was the official Game Awards.
Then he did the pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was G4 TV too for a while, and then he moved. You know, when it transitioned to Spike, he stayed. Yeah, and then
it was him, Kevin Pereira, Olivia Munn, Morgan Webb, Adam Sessler. I think Pereira went somewhere else.
He started acting.
Yeah,
Yep.
Olivia
And
Munn started
he
acting.
ain't great. Yeah, but Kevin Pereira is not great at acting.
Yeah.
He's
I
horrible.
don't know what
that's
happened to Mark
surprising.
Webb, and Adam Sessler just went crazy.
There
He
was
lost.
another guy too, and he ended up being the host for The Talking Dead.
Yeah,
At one
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
I can't remember his
Yeah.
name right now, but he hosted that for a while. I don't know what he does now, but
He hung
yeah.
on. Is that no longer a thing anymore?
I don't
No,
think it is now.
because it's over with now. So
Because it
it
was
was
him
just
and the
for
black lady.
it was just for The Walking Dead. It wasn't for the other shows. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
man.
yeah,
Blair Herter, yeah.
Blair Herter,
What? No, I
yeah.
think was it him?
No, it was
I can't
Kevin
remember his name.
Pereira who did the Talking Dead, but Blair Herter was the one who did the G4 stuff. He was the tall, skinny guy.
He was the one that allowed.
That didn't last
He
long.
was the one who was in the Wii U video was like, "No, I'm kind of excited," and they were like, "No, no, no,
yeah.
we don't
It was
know."
like no, we don't know what it is. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like
I was
think that's
genuinely.
generic.
Look, if I was in his position, I'd have been genuinely confused. So I'm like, we all saw the same.
Chris
thing,
Hardwick.
right?
Nova has it right. It's Chris Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick. Yes.
Like we all saw the same thing, right? Because I'm pretty sure we all went into that room and saw the console sitting there. We all tested it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
He just was not in on the joke, apparently.
Right.
All right. So we're almost about to wrap up. So what are you guys looking forward to in 2025? I will start with you, Andre.
The fanboying, because I'm looking forward to seeing this whole meltdown happen. And
the meltdown.
I am waiting for the moment that meltdown happens because I am going to laugh through it and talk about it and laugh through it some more and talk about it some more because it's going to get hilarious. I know it is. Because there's going to be something that drops that nobody expects to drop.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it's probably going to hit during summer. There's going to be a summer hit that nobody expects to drop. And it's going to make so many people mad because they ain't got it. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, Jack, what about you?
Man, what am I looking forward? All right, so new YouTube channels. We get new ones every console release, and they name their channel after that particular console.
Amen to that.
So I'm looking forward to those. I'm looking forward to the breakdowns of the Switch 2. And then when those breakdowns happen, the rumors that the PS handheld and the Xbox handheld are going to be 2 times, 10 times better than that particular one.
Oh yeah.
30 minutes. 30 minutes battery life.
Yep.
And the highly inaccurate reporting on those specs that they
all
will be
the time
talking about.
Digital Foundry. I'm expecting them to blow up this year. Big
again?
time. Like they about to eat off these Switch 2
they're about to eat.
comparisons,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
PS4,
Yeah.
PS5 Pro, Xbox. Yeah, we about to see it all, baby. Like we about to see it all.
They're gonna have Switch whatever, PS4, PS5, PS5 Pro, Xbox One,
Well, they about to have
PS6
a
Pro.
field day.
Like PS6 ain't even gonna be out. PS8 Pro.
I'm hoping Nintendo forces them to buy a development kit to do what they do because I'm hoping they lock out capture. So they try to get direct feed capture on there, they don't get anything. Like they try to do frame rate tests and all that. They won't be able to unless they buy a dev unit. That'd be hilarious, actually. That's kind of what I'm waiting on.
I'm waiting for that. So that, and then of course the console release itself. Like I think that's the biggest excitement because even my wife was asking me. She was like, there's so much content I see come up on your YouTube and y'all talk about it so much. She was like, so what's the big hype around it? And I was like, well, I mean, people are looking to make some money. So there's going to be a lot of fake tech. There's going to be a lot of videos. So people are looking to get some money. So they're going to talk about it, even though they're not interested. I said, but for those of us that actually play games, we're just excited to see what Nintendo does next. Even though we genuinely have an idea of what the system is going to look like. The features in the games is what we look for. That's the same thing we were talking about last night to where, I can tell you all day what a 8 nanometer, 5 nanometer, this teraflop, that teraflop does. But if Nintendo chooses to downscale, if Nintendo chooses to use it a little bit different, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So I'm curious to see how Nintendo utilizes their hardware. and then to see if third party wises up and follows suit. Because at some point, I think the writing has to be on the wall. As a third party, you can't remain ignorant on purpose. You just can't do it. So it's like we lose developers every generation. Like that's just what it is. And whether it's because they failed or they just could not transition into that next big hardware push, or I guess graphical push, because companies want to keep moving the needle as if, it doesn't take time to get to know these systems and get to know these engines for you to get a quality game. I'm just curious to see what they do now, and if they do leave PlayStation behind, or at least make them the second option going forward. And then the last thing I'm can't wait to see this year is how many copycats we get.
Oh
I know there are
it's gonna be
some.
plenty.
Oh yeah, I know there are some that are coming like later down the line. Like I know the Legion Go S, I think is rumored to be shown at CES this year. I just don't know.
Weeks.
Right, and I just don't know the release date on it. But that's supposed to be Microsoft and Valve's joint venture, to where a lot of these handhelds are going to be either Steam OS only, or they're going to be like have the Windows OS. So Valve is giving out that Steam OS for people to actually put on different hardware outside the Steam Deck. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how hard people will jump at this, and then kind of look at Nintendo on the surface level and say, "Ooh, we can outdo that." So here's our handheld, and then here's our second iteration 6 months later, for us to improve on it. Not understanding, kind of similar to what Marlon mentioned on a lot of his interviews. Like, you could try to copy what the Wayans do, but you just don't have the Wayans formula. And it's the same way with Nintendo. Like, you can try to mimic what we do, you just don't have that Nintendo formula. Whatever shrooms they eating, you ain't got them. However, you got to be a creative mind to come up with a Galaxy. You got to be a creative mind to come up with a Splatoon, Arms, all that stuff. Like, you got to have it in the bag. And the fact that they always stick to culture, and even with their new group, them mentioning that they created this museum to train the new people that come on.
Yep,
that's impressive. So they don't lose the touch, and they don't lose the life of Nintendo.
It's called investing in the company, right there.
There you go. Yep. And also investing into your IPs and allowing the new blood to say, okay, this is what we do, but how can you add to it? How can you spruce it up? So I think it's pretty dope. Hoping there is an ARM sequel, Astral Chain sequel. Looking forward to seeing Donkey Kong in whatever form they plan to introduce him outside this January push. But ultimately, yeah.
That's one thing I think that's gonna drop. I think we're getting a new Donkey Kong game, an actual Donkey Kong, because there ain't no reason why they're gonna open up that part of the park and they ain't gonna have nothing for them.
And that was my key thing too, because they're doing a huge Donkey Kong push outside of those two things. Like, there's a lot of Donkey Kong that they're really pushing heavy. And like you said, even though Japan already has it, we get it here as soon as the park opens up in May. Yeah. So it's like they have to have something for it.
They got something. I don't know what it is, but they got something. So
yeah, I think Yoshi's Island is next too. By the way,
ooh,
probably.
Oh, you know what? You know what it could be. And don't hate me for saying this. A full remake of Donkey Kong 64.
That would be dope.
I'll be fine with it.
Where they fix the issues that the game had, maybe cut out some of the monotony of it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
full remake.
Yeah. I'm gonna need the DK rap to be done by
remastered
by Kendrick Lamar. I need Kendrick Lamar.
You know what?
You looking for a PR man? You looking for a PR nightmare?
Just because of how wild that man has been, he would definitely do it too. He would.
It's some kind of way. It's some kind of way. He's gonna diss Drake in it.
I mean, all he gotta do is mention bananas in some weird way associated with Drake.
Like you looking for a PR nightmare with that one, because I'm telling you, races coming out the woodwork. Worm.
It would be fun though.
Yeah, it would. It would. It's just Nintendo. I don't think they're ready for that.
Call my boy Kong. You got a gun, better run.
Hey, there you go. Put Juvie on it. Yeah.
Juvie.
Actually, this is what I would want to see Wu-Tang Clan on. Let them do a Donkey Kong soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that would be dope.
I'm about to Rizzo come up with some weird sound to make that work.
Get them and had Busta work with them on.
Yeah, RZA and they
That's how it start
they'll
off.
make some craziness, dude. They will
Had
make some
people's
craziness.
had people's brains explode.
Yeah. All
And
right,
I'll
man.
I
say
would
one more
want
thing.
I would want Donkey Kong to be Buster. Ha! Ooh.
That would look. The bad thing is that's exactly what I thought too.
And one more thing, and I know this is completely off topic, but I've been scrolling off on the side. I just need my girl Joy to get some grace this year because she's starting off bad. My feed should not look this crazy, and I mean the memes are heavy right now, and they are hilarious. But yeah, other than that, yeah, she getting ate up. You hear me?
She getting destroyed. Yeah. Shadow, what about you, man? 2025, what you looking forward to?
So for me, other than the obvious Killer Instinct and Streets Rage 5, I need I need Nintendo to go ahead and show us what they got. We'll go from there. I'll do a I'm not gonna do a teardown, but I'll probably do a review of a teardown, the die shots and whatnot, and go over stuff like that. And I definitely look forward to a bunch of people saying that it means things that it doesn't, and a bunch of people saying things that it isn't and it is. So we're gonna hear a lot of things talking about the system's underpowered and it's perfectly fine for what it's aiming to do. And we're getting a whole bunch of people saying, unfortunately, there's some Nintendo fans that think it's the second coming of God, and then everything will be ray traced and everything's fine. I'm like, no, Nintendo is not about all of that. That's not what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So if there is some ray tracing, cool, but also know that it's going to be piecemeal. And Nintendo doesn't like doing piecemeal. They want to do the whole thing. So
even if it is, everybody going to not use it.
Yeah, it's got to be interactive for it to be worth it. To be honest with you.
I got a feeling if they're going to do any kind of ray tracing, they will come up with their own scheme to make their own version of ray tracing.
Yeah, and I figured probably the one thing that they would do, it'll probably be reflections, and they'll make it gameplay related somehow, like like Link goes into a hall of mirrors or something. That
like next 3D Mario game.
Yep,
if it's gonna be, they're gonna use it. If they use it. If they use it, it's gonna be something like that.
Oh, I gotta start writing these ideas down.
Yeah, but I mean that's the only thing I can really think of because
I just got hit with one that would be a Mario Funhouse type game where they use the reflections to make different effects happen.
Okay.
Oh no, this
like
I gotta write this down.
Kaleidoscope kind of
I gotta write this down.
All right. And so that was my other thing too. I was thinking that they need to remake Splinter Cell. If you have ray tracing for shadows,
Ubisoft ain't doing that.
Ubisoft right now they hurting. Dude, Ubisoft bad right now.
Yeah, it's just wild to me. Like
they put all their eggs in the basket with live service. They shouldn't have did that.
Yep.
I don't know who told them that was a good idea.
Investors.
That was a horrible investment.
And Star Wars Outlaws did not do well. So I think they were banking on that to do well, and that didn't. So
you know what's so crazy about that game is that was the game that game right there was the game. I remember this like it was yesterday. That was the game that they were talking about when EA had lost the license.
Yeah.
That was the game. That was the game that we were all ready for. Like, dang, yo, and Ubisoft got it? Oh, this is about to be great.
And no, it wouldn't.
man. But I don't think I think it's pretty much gonna be more of that. So it'll be more of people expecting certain things from Switch's successor, and they won't be there, or vice versa. I think we all collectively understand pretty much what we're going to be brought forward with, and I don't think we'll overestimate or underestimate anything as far as what type of games we're going to see and what type of quality or whatever we expect to see or whatever. I don't even really care about the graphics at this point. It's more of what are they going to do with it.
Because my thing when it comes to Nintendo, I don't care about graphics because they always do something different. Like every genre, every game they do is something different. Half the time, the only real ones that they have like quasi realistic is Metroid.
Yeah,
really. Yeah, everything else is like different. It's cell shade. It's it may be cartoony, straight up like Mario was straight up cartoony.
or claymation,
or claymation or something like. Dude, they do different stuff all the time. So I've
But
already been trained to not even care about that much.
you know what's so crazy about Metroid Prime 4? And it's the only game that I can really think of that falls under. So when I think about PlayStation games like PlayStation 3 and all that other stuff, if you see them today, they don't have that forever like longevity to
Nope.
it, right?
Yeah, they don't.
But like a massive amount of the Nintendo games do. But when
Yep.
I think about like Prime 4, it falls under the aesthetics of at some point in time, you're going to be like, this isn't looking like how I used to think it looked. But the biggest difference between that is we had the same thing with the original Metroid Prime game, and all they had to do was just go back and play with it a little bit and was like, huh, good as new. And you're like,
Basically,
wait a minute. You know,
like you made it look like I remember it.
but better. So yeah. There we go. All right, Sandstorm, what you looking forward to in 2025?
Metroid Prime 4, and all the glory in that. Pokemon ZA and all the glory in that. I am looking forward to all the Mandarks to show their faces. When the next iteration of whatever comes out after the Switch 2. I told you it was more powerful. You know, I think they're gonna go crazy on that. I'm looking forward to Switch 2 Pro rumors.
Oh, they coming day one.
They coming day
They coming
one.
day one. Yeah, this is gonna be day one, dude.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I remember around a little while ago there was supposed to be 2 models for the Switch 2. So
Right.
so we and I personally expect us to really actually only get 1 model. So then the rumor is going to be that they held off on the second model, which is the higher model, which is going to be the Pro unit.
Oh, the same rumors we got before.
Yeah. And the Pro then at the time was the development kit. That's what's so hilarious to me. Hey, it's going to have 6 cores and it's going to do this and it's going to do that. That's the development unit, bro. That's literally it. Everything you said is in this unit here. Like, so it's just one of those things, man. I think that we'll have I'm interested in seeing whatever new first party games come as well for the Switch successor. I forgot to mention that part, but that'll definitely that'll get
Mario Kart. I need to see what they do with this Mario Kart. Because it has to come this generation. You can't miss 2 generations.
It's gonna come this generation.
Yeah.
Mario Kart something. 9, 10, 12, whatever they
Mario
want to call
Kart Universe. That's what we're gonna go with.
Mario Kart Space.
It's probably gonna be Nintendo Kart at this point because I think they did it with Mario and people wanted they put Link in there. People gonna want to see
and the Squidlings.
But did you get rid of that the acclaim name just because you're adding so many people?
Super Kart Brothers.
It's gonna be like it's gonna basically be Smash Bros. But with carts.
Super
Kart
Brothers.
Super Mario Kart. I was saying Super Mario Kart.
Something like that.
Yeah, because there is it's just Mario Kart. So you just put Mario Kart and then you add the super in front of it. Super Mario Kart.
That'd be crazy.
I'm expecting new IP, another new IP from this generation. I mean, I don't care what form it is, but I definitely feel like, and I'm surprised none of y'all before me have said this. I am waiting for the kings in my mind. The kings in my mind. Monolith to actually show us.
Yesterday.
Show us. Because they got that new RPG that was working on a couple years ago.
That's going to drop. That's going to drop with this.
They keep getting side skirted. Like before you finish that though, don't wait a minute.
Like we know what that's gonna do.
Can we borrow like 2 teams to go work on this game over here real quick?
What if that's the launch game?
What
if that's the launch game to where like really we talk about how Zelda blew up the Switch and everybody's expecting Metroid Prime 4 to be the lead game, but it's like, hey, this is one Monolith has been working on. Y'all know who they are. Y'all know how they get down.
Right.
And this is what they doing, and this is going to be our lead platform for the Switch release.
Listen, realistically, all they have to do is show the trailer of Monolith Soft, and then that's gonna scoot you in. Like,
Yep.
okay, hold on, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. What am I looking at here? And then after that, they're just gonna show you an open world, and you're like, yes, 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 yes,
Feed it to me.
yes. I'm already here for it. I don't even. And then they don't show you the rest of the stuff, and you already knew it was gonna be great at that point. But all they had to do was say Monolith Soft and open world, and you were already in there. You were like, I'm already, yeah, I
No,
already bought it.
even
I bought it.
I mean, there is a rumor that Project Cross Zone 3 and it got taken down. There was a rumor that Project Cross Zone 3 is going to be getting done,
Give
which
it that
means
Fire Emblem
which
sauce,
that
and you
was,
got a game.
but that's also Monolith Soft.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That'd be nuts.
And the comedy in that series is funny. So if
Yeah.
I get the thought that they're probably going to do 1 and 2 for the successor, and then 3 also, or make it cross platform.
Yeah,
Hey,
bringing that
be even better deep cut if they can go back and get Namco cross Capcom and have the whole
Man.
series.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. All right, so before we get out of here, we got 2 questions. First one from Dark Void. Do you think this year we'll see a big push from Nintendo on the television side? Do you think we're going to see TV shows announced this year? I would
don't
hope
think so.
I get the rest
Yes.
of the Star Fox anime.
I don't think so.
I would get the rest of that.
I think
I
they
have a
focus too much on that part.
I have a specific caveat. I think they are going to go heavy on doing the shows and doing anime and doing stuff like that. But I'm still of the mindset they're going to do their own app. And it's going to be
Yeah.
tied to your Nintendo Switch Online account.
Yeah, because I was just thinking that the other day. Like, if you did that, who are you partnering with to make that happen on a
They're not
platform?
gonna.
Because it's not going to be Crunchyroll. I'll tell you that much.
Because Crunchyroll is owned by Sony, so they're
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
going to do that. And they could go the
They
Hulu
could
route,
go
but that's owned by
Paramount.
Disney, and they could do Paramount, but I don't think they want to do that. So
No, and
because
that
the only
and
other one I was thinking was probably going to be Netflix, but I don't think they're
Netflix
going to
already
rock with
messed up that deal. I don't
Yeah,
think
they
they doubled
screwed that
off
up
on.
with the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
and the Star Fox. Remember, Star Fox was supposed to go there too. It was
Yep,
it was Legend of
they
Zelda
screwed that
and
up with
Star
both
Fox.
of them.
They screwed both of them up because Duke couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Then Nintendo said, "Oh, you got employees that don't know how to be quiet."
Right.
And the
Contract ripped.
sad thing about it was that trailer they did, the pitch trailer they did for Zelda actually looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it was what 2008, 9 was when
Yep.
that pitch
No, it
trailer was
wasn't
out.
that. It wasn't that early. It was I want to say it was like 2018, 2019.
You
So
sure?
what are we talking about?
That was the Magi.
The Zelda trailer. The
Oh.
one
Oh
that
yeah,
was putting out-
2017.
Yeah, it was like, 2008 would have been way too soon.
Yeah, because because the Star Fox one was was at first was supposed to be puppets, but then Production IG was supposed to did it because of the anime, the 14-minute anime special. So yeah, I would love for them to do that. I don't know, but I would love for them to do it. And if they did, the smart thing would be just like with the Nintendo Music. People are going to get upset, but get the online. Y'all said y'all wanted to see the value in the
let them get up. Let them
That's
get
how you
upset. Do the exact same thing y'all did with this Mario Party game.
Drop
Drop a game that has a little subscription card in there with it, and then drop the app 2 weeks later.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So there's that. And this one is from Nightwolf. Do you guys think Elma Amiibo will come out with Xenoblade Chronicles X? I hope so.
Yes,
I hope so. And I hope it unlocks Cosmos.
You open wrong.
I'm playing. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, I am joking. But no, I would hope so. I would hope they would do one for Elma and probably one for Lynn and probably one for Tatsu if they're going to do it. You can't do one for the main character because the main character is.
I mean, you could do a blank slate for the main character,
but
technically.
Yeah, technically, but I wouldn't do that.
Tatsu, the walking potato.
Yeah, so I'll probably do that. But all right, peeps, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you guys in the chat. We appreciate you for coming hanging out with us tonight. Jack, anything you want to pimp out?
Yeah. So like I mentioned the night before, I'm going to start doing the whole live stream thing for the channel. Really getting into that on what I'm looking at Thursdays and Wednesdays, because the weekends are packed at this point. So doing on Thursdays and Wednesdays, along with doing like a news segment as well. I thought about doing that on like a daily span, but ain't that much going on for you to do it daily. So I'll just kind of do a culmination of that week at the end of the week for like a little news feed and recap, if you will. But yeah, just kind of doing that heavy push for the channel going into next year, because really, you know, we always do this for fun, but really just trying to get some more traction with the channel, realizing there's not a lot of channels really doing anything creative outside of our channels, and there's a lot of channels breaking up. I'm starting to notice too. So that's very interesting in itself. So looking to produce some new content, and then of course always on the music front. Just, you know, really getting ready to go heavy as a group with MSM, and you know, with TJ starting off next week, being that first album release, and you know, continuing to release music consistently at that level. I think I'm a song short on mine, and I think it's like at the end of the year. Me and TJ still have to get that ironed out and the videos and stuff ironed out. But yeah, to be done this early is is a blessing in itself. So yeah, just look forward to both. And trying to find ways to properly promote, because you know, anybody that sees my stuff, I don't promote that much. I just kind of release it and just leave it out there. But in reality, I think the key thing between, you know, talking to you guys, TJ, and then also my wife, they was like, hey, you need to promote. And so it's like, all right, so it's time to really start doing the headache, which is editing and promoting, to see what the content looks like and to get more traction. So yeah, that's about it, man.
All right, Sandstorm.
So yesterday, um, we had a stormcast, and the title of Switch 2 will get massive amount of third-party support. If you haven't had the opportunity to check that out, it was Jack, Shadow Fox, Andre, and myself. We really kind of go in on talking about the Switch, and kind of our thoughts surrounding it. Definitely a good video. Like I said, if you haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. Um, we announced as well that both the Vitaverse and Nunami, our affiliate channels, our sister channels to the Sandstorm channel, are all now going to be under one hub, under the Sandstorm channel. So you will get your Vito verses and your Nunamis on Friday. So it makes it easier for you guys to come through and check it out, and enjoy and just discuss with us. Tomorrow is the Jill podcast, the Juices Loose podcast with Terminator Juice. I will be on there. I probably will come late, like I usually do. CP time, kill me. Um, and other than that, I think that's it. Make sure you subscribe to all of the gents here. If you have not, if you're new to any of their channels, definitely subscribe to their channels. As well as like all our friends that come on here, guests and everything that we have on all the different channels. And Vicky as well. She's doing her thing. Um, she's our neighborhood troll. She's not from Michigan, and yet she still happens to be a troll, which is crazy to me. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, Shadow.
Channel's not dead no more, for real this time. So published a video on New Year's Eve. Well, it still came out on New Year's Day for other reasons, but so that's out there. Did a Twitter live not too long ago. And trying to be a little bit more active on the other channel. So just pay attention. I'll probably produce some more content this week, and there'll be the first Shadowcast for 2025 this Friday coming up. So just stay attention, stay tuned, and you'll see more. I'll put invites and other kind of stuff on the channel posting, and also on social media. So follow me there. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky as well. So y'all know how to find me, and that'll pretty much be it. Make sure you subscribe to everybody else here, and check out the other associated acts as well, because you know we all kind of independent, well, not independently, but interchangeably promote each other's channels, which is good stuff. So appreciate that for you guys coming through. I do have an alibi though, and it's a good one. Everybody, while you can, spend about a good 15 to 20 minutes searching on YouTube for Switch Pro videos, because it's going to take you about that long to find the first one. And then when you do, you'll find all the associated ones. They'll start from anywhere between a year ago to 3 years ago and just go back through those just for a little bit of comedy there. It goes all the way back to almost 6 years ago. But just look at those and just kind of like knowing what you know now, watching them is hilarious. So that much I will say. Other than that, you play games, have fun to impress other people. We back.
All right, Andre.
I mean, look, I've already dropped 3 discussions already this year. Just go and check out my channel for those. Centering around the reason that the Wii U wasn't successful, also the naming of the Switch successor, and the issue that we're having with AI kind of stealing and copying people's videos. Because that's a thing that's going to be a thing if YouTube doesn't do something about it. You're going to have more people training AI to search out popular stuff, take it, and then repurpose it and regurgitate it. So that's an issue that really needs to be dealt with like as soon as possible. Because we already had people doing it anyway, taking videos from one language and translating them to another language without explicit permission or giving credit to the original person. So I really think that that's an issue that really, really needs to be worried about and talked about. So, but those are there, and I do have a plan to keep going forward and throwing out new stuff towards you guys. I actually have something that's going to drop tomorrow on the channel called Pick Your Poison. And I think people will find it interesting. So it'll be there tomorrow morning. You go ahead, check it out. Pick Your Poison will be very interesting. If it does decent, I'll probably continue it because I can do a lot of ideas with that concept. So just putting that one out there. But that's it for me.
All right. Thanks everybody once again for coming through. We appreciate it. Check out me and Vicky's Fresh Take. We did Skeleton Crew. We're gonna be finishing that series up and going into the Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series that starts January in a couple weeks. Yeah, on Disney Plus. So stop through, check those vids out, and we'll see you guys next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out, people.
Peace.
Peace.